Okay, if you're just catching this and you're doing the iPod later or something like that, where you're listening to the cast, this is the beginning where I wait for people to come online, which may take a little bit of time. So, basically, to summarize, if you're new to it, what I'm doing is you can ask questions and just type in a question. I'll respond. So it's an interactive show, if you will. I cover all the local news, and been doing this for like a week and a half. Some people seem to like it, so I thought, okay, I'll continue to do it. But if you have any questions, you can ask, and I'll try not to get sidetracked. I tend to get sidetracked really quick, and I'm just sharing this real quick on a couple of my channels, and there goes the last one. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. There's been a lot of news over the past 24 hours since the last show. So let's go ahead and get started. We got the family searching for the dog that escaped from the car after their bad car accident. Two of the kids were sent to the hospital. They ended up being okay, but they're still looking for this dash hound. And if anybody's seen him, they said don't chase him. His name is Frodo. On all these stories, if you go to the uncensoredreport.com, top right-hand side, there's a search box. Just type in any of the words on the title, or I'll give you a keyword sometimes, and you can pull it up. Like this one is escapes. Type that in, you'll find out all about the story, and you can share it directly from the website. Sarasota County Sheriff's retiring a K-9, and they went through all the cases he worked and all the specifics on it, which is always interesting just to read some of that stuff and see what's going on. Let's see, what do we got here? Governor Childs. This is on Visit Florida. He basically talking about how they're going to market the area from the Sarasota County area, all the areas that were impacted by Irma, and try to step that up a little bit for tourism. Now, there was another article that came out basically stating that tourism was doing great and that there were no real issues out there, especially in the Sarasota County area, that Irma didn't scare away a lot of the tourists, which I was surprised by that. The next one is burglary. This girl, she doesn't look like a criminal. I wouldn't have thought she was a criminal, but she is. And she was busted with credit cards. She stole a bunch of credit cards, and she's not the brightest. Most criminals aren't the brightest. This one decided to use the credit cards online and then ship the stuff to her house. And they caught her on surveillance video. She's all over Siesta Key doing it. And you can read up on her if you want. Woman charged is the key word. This is some of the stuff that came out late yesterday. They're working on a new traffic signal over there on Price Boulevard and Sulphur Boulevard. Some people are excited about that, others not. And then here comes the Puerto Rican hurricane. I posted some of the pictures of that, and I showed the power lines, which Paul Delgado with Fox shared it, and put it in perspective of, I know a lot of us have been upset because our power's been down. Some of you guys are still without power, very few, but some are. And I looked at that picture with the power lines, and it puts it in perspective. Those guys aren't going to have power for a while. 100% of the island's power was knocked out. And they don't have the infrastructure, the resources to go out and get the power back on in the same manner that we do. So I feel for those guys. They're going to be without some electric for a while. I'm continuing to put the aerial missions out there for the mosquito spraying. They hit a lot of Venice yesterday. And if you click on it, you can see the maps, and they give the areas that they're spraying. They put it out usually right around this time, maybe somewhere around this time. And you can see the concern is going to be, it takes about a week, the standing water, for the mosquito eggs to hatch and start thriving and start having a mosquito problem. So we're going to start seeing an outbreak real soon here. And that's when this spraying becomes imperative. And we had an issue earlier where a lot of people were concerned because the mosquitoes were getting out of control. That was about a month and a half ago. Then we started having some storms. Things changed somewhat. And we're getting back into it again with the standing water issue. Good news on this case. This is an individual. She wrote me, and I haven't been able to take it down. She wanted to, but I'm like, well, you're anonymous. What's the big deal? It's the individual that she went out, she evacuated, a single mother with 2 kids, and she found out that some people were in her house, and she contacted them, found out the landlord let people stay in her house, which just befuddles all of us. I no idea what happened there. But she wrote me and said, well, the landlord's letting me stay there. I don't know. Maybe she has nowhere to go. Maybe the rent's good, but I don't know if I would want to stay in a house where a landlord let people in my house that I'm renting and let them stay there without asking me, without consulting with me. I'd want to get the hell out of there. Again, if you're just joining, you can ask questions. Just type them in. I look up every so often. Hopefully I'll see them. Sometimes Facebook acts up and I don't see them until the end. What else we got here? And this is all yesterday. I don't know why. I didn't see this in any of the local MSMs, but I was watching the Venice City Council meeting yesterday, and they did vote to prohibit marijuana dispensaries within the city. They gave a variety of reasons. Some, I think it was a moral issue. Some said there's too much state. The state made it too complex the way they instituted it. Bottom line is they're going to miss out on a lot of money because, the city of Northport, they've approved the dispensary down there, Bradenton. So I think they're just shooting themselves in the foot. Tackle Football put out this report, had a few comments, and I think this is common knowledge to most individuals, and that's the impact of football that it may have in regards to your health with your brain and behavioral problems and stuff like that. I think you take a few hits to the head, there's going to be issues. I don't think it's a real surprise. I think a lot of the Pop Warner football coaches out there try to practice extreme safety. I know at Venice during their practice, they now got that extra cushioning up there. I think it's more of bringing out the awareness of the issue. I was down at the Clydesdales yesterday, and I got some photo of all 8 of them getting harnessed up, and then I saw them going down Venice Avenue. Some people said, "Oh man, I missed it," and I did put out a few emails on it, and then I tried to get there early to do the video for you guys to let you know, hey, it's happening. They will be in Sarasota next month, so I'll try to get that information, and I'll share that in case anybody wants to go there and check it out. It was pretty cool. I liked it, and it's informative. You got a guy up there just telling you all about them, how they measure them with hands, and Rocco and Donnie, they give their names and all that good stuff. So it was interesting. The tourism thing, let's see what else we got here. This was, hopefully they're reflecting on this as well. Suncoast, and it talked about how county leaders are reflecting on a lot of the issues that they had during the Irma and some of the stuff that they need to address. One thing though, when they did the report, who did this report? Suncoast, WWSB. I didn't hear anything about the absence of shelters as one of the concerns, but I know it is a concern. And when I say absence of shelters from Northport to Sarasota, now the county commissioner, Charlie Hines, who handles a lot of our area down in Venice, he came back and said, look, we could have transported them. There was no issue. And so I don't know if the county leaders will view it that way and say there's no issue because we could have transported these people or they could have gone on their own will. The other issue that I brought up in yesterday's show and a few shows is we found out that the Venice Community Center, the roof was fixed prior to Irma. It can withstand a Category 3, and it was previously on the list as acceptable shelters with FEMA, that and Taylor Ranch. And they sent me the flyer and stuff where it was on there. A lot of people were worried about the water, but it is at a 19-foot elevation. They sent me the blueprints, actually, for it. The city did. So you got to wonder, why isn't that a FEMA-approved shelter? And the county won't go with the shelter unless it's FEMA-approved or FEMA-approved. And, there was a Category 3 by the time it was going to hit us, but maybe the concern was that it was going to be a 4 and there was some uncertainty there. I don't know. So it's something that needs to be addressed. And I'm used to more questions. There's like no questions popping up here. This is great. All right, what else do we have? There was just now a crash reported on a motorcycle. The guy that put it out there is Minnesota Daily News. He listens to an actual two-way radio. And I'm not sure if it was accurate because he said Seaboard, but then he said near Walmart. And Seaboard's down here near the bridge. It's not near Walmart. So I think there's some confusion on there. I put on dispatch, and I couldn't get it on the county, so I'm thinking it's Seaboard, not anywhere near Walmart, because the city would handle that, and I don't have access to their dispatch. Somebody writing about first responders having crossed the Venice issue. I don't think anyone's going to really pay attention to it. Some of the stuff they put out, people note issues, and sometimes they'll look at it. Believe it or not, I actually have, in this thing, let Let me get this back up and going. I actually have a lot of county politicians, police, everybody that reads my page. They may not come on the Facebook, but they go on the website. Like Councilman Daniels here in Venice seems to live on it. Some people deny living on it, but they know everything that's going on, like Holic. Even in Sarasota, Northport, you'll see a lot of commissioners, sheriff's department, all that. So they're reading these things, and a lot of times people, when they send me their email to the scoop, I think it's to bring attention to an issue, hoping that whoever's on this page will read it and take some initiative on it. Hopefully that explains it. Okay, Sarasota County Sheriff's Office is looking about vandalism. Some idiot broke some hurricane-proof windows twice, it looks like, on 2 occasions, and they're over $4,000. Now, that's us county taxpayers. It's our bill. We got to pay for that. So hopefully they'll track these goofballs down, and if you have any evidence, or if you've seen anything and you have anything that can help them, they ask you to give them a call. You got this child pornography guy, over 40 charges. They tracked him down with his IP address. One of the biggest things that pisses me off is child pornography. And I put it out there because I saw it on the arrest report. I do that daily arrest report, and I saw it on there, and I put all of his arrest information. Now, what Sarasota County did, I put up another one because they gave some a story behind it. You know, they were looking at the IP. There was like 15,000 hits or something like that with the IP, and they found 40 actual pictures depicting sex with a child on his computer, and so they arrested him, which is a good thing. I'm glad, and they need to do a lot more to him, and he's not going to be liked in prison. Let me see what else we got here. Deadwaller's doing a good thing. Now they're up in Sarasota. They're down here. I went in there once, and I'm the type of guy that doesn't like a lot of crowd around me. And I walked in Deadwaller's, I could barely walk, and I got so stressed I had to leave. Couldn't deal with it. But I hear their food's really good. I did hear something about a meat thing that I'm not going to share, but it's a little concerning because I couldn't confirm it. But they seem to have good food, and you got to love what they're doing here. They're having dinner. I forget the time. I think it was 11 or something. I forget the time. But if you click the link or type in Detweilers, they're giving a free hot meal up in Sarasota at that location. Anybody impacted by Irma that's still out of electric, and just to say, hey, look, we're giving back to the community. That's pretty cool. They don't have to do that. Costs a lot of money. It's a good thing. City of Sarasota, the debris, and it's similar all around here. I look outside here. My debris is still out in front. And a lot of people are doing what the cities and counties said not to do. They're putting their debris right there where the water, if it rains, the sewage, what is that called? The canal, the gully, whatever. They're blocking the water. What it happens is it's going to bring up more flooding. They told you guys to keep your debris on the grass, and they'll pick it up. Now, I get that the debris really destroys the grass, especially sitting there for a while, like it has mine. But there's an idea behind it. If you get rain, like here in Venice, we got a ton of rain last night. And I went out there, and you could see it was all still a little bit flooded instead of draining down the sewers because people had their debris all over in the street. And then you're driving. Don't get me started on that. Sharky's email came out to Pier. WFLA, Rogers went out there. John Rogers, good guy. Real good guy. He went out and he did a report. If you got any questions, you can type it up there too. There used to be a lot of questions. There's like no questions here. John Rogers, he went out, he did a report on the bridge after Chris Brantley did his, or the pier. And there's 2 stories that are out there. Now, you got the one where he came out and he said, hey, it's going to be $675,000 to fix it. They're going to try to get it fixed up to the bait shop as soon as possible, within a couple weeks. His story, as of last night, and talking to the city manager and everybody, was possibly next year, just like Chris Brantley, getting the pier fixed. And they had to come up with $675,000, he said. I did have someone write me today, and I shared that. I know the person. He writes me a lot. He said it's going to be $700,000. I don't know him. I know his name. He writes me a lot, I should say. And he said it's going to be $700,000, and they're fast-tracking it. I've never seen a city fast-track. I must have missed the conversation on it because I was watching most of the city council meeting yesterday. Hopefully this is accurate. $700,000 to fix the pier, that's a lot of money. Somebody else brought up a good point, Michael Cecil, who's always on this page. He wrote me and said, you know what, why is it 13 years ago we built and paid a ton of money for a pier that was supposed to withstand a category 4 or 5, I think he said, and yet this one didn't. And that's a concern there. Is the city going to go back to the contractors? I don't know if he sent that to the city, but it's a good question if accurate. This email from this lady, about the 12-year-old getting hit in the face. Now, I think someone said, I get attacked so much I don't even pay attention anymore. But this is pretty accurate what I'm hearing. There's a lot of posts on this, and actually a lot of people have written me about this, asked me to post it. And that's when I finally posted it, about this adult that hit this 12-year-old kid, knocked his teeth out. That's the actual picture there. I'm sure there are two sides of the story, but I got to tell you, there's always two sides of the story. But no matter what, when an adult hits a kid, I can imagine myself knocking some kid in the mouth, especially with my rings on, and to hit him that hard that you're going to knock his teeth out. I don't care what side of the story it is. You don't do that. You can't go around and do that. So yeah, there might be two sides, but the two sides can't equate to punching some 12-year-old in the mouth like that. So hopefully some justice. The two sides that I am a little bit worried about, I guess they said Port Charlotte didn't take action. And you'll see some Port Charlotte stories because of the proximity to Northport. Like my sister lives right on the border with Port Charlotte and Northport, right there. And I always thought she was Northport. So there's a lot of, they go back and forth, kind of like we do with Nokomis, okay, in Venice, or Sarasota does with Osprey, or Bradenton, Manatee. So we'll see what happens there. The viral video, I don't know if you guys watched it. That lady just beat the hell out of the lady on the ground. What is wrong with our society? The road rage is bad enough. And then you get out your car and you just pummel a person like that? And I got to admit, I've had some road rage. I mean, driving in Venice, Sarasota, I go to Sarasota a lot on weekends. The traffic just drives me crazy. When the snowbirds are here, I get road rage. But I would never pull my gun out like the guy on River Road and shoot a guy and try to shoot a guy or punch him, and then a guy can pull his gun and shoot him. I would never get out and just start beating the hell out of someone in the street like this. Some common sense has to step in here. I believe she was arrested. Andrea, what's her name? Shalisky, her and her husband. I know them. They're always on my page. They might even be listening now. They're interesting because they're very liberal and very libertarian, and we don't always jive on the views, but they're very intelligent. I like having conversations, and they're the type of people you can debate, and they won't start calling you a Nazi or a hateful stuff. I like conversing with them. Him primarily. Her's been on email, but they go out and they're environmentalists, and they go out and they check these sea turtles all the time. And I noticed I have a group, if you don't know, it's called the Scoop News Group. And she put on there that the sea turtles are still coming. She thought it was done, so continue to be aware of them. And I guess it's just been a phenomenal season here. And I posted a video on that. Now that one is more down in Southwest. We're considered Southwest, I guess, but it's more down to Fort Myers. But the same thing. I'll share stories if it's something that impacts us here, like or tells a story about something that is occurring here, which that one did. The $700,000 pier. Sarasota's budget, that was I don't know what all the angst was there. That was like the big drama, the Sarasota budget. How do you get so much drama out of a budget? That's like the boringest thing. Here, you want to hear, I was listening to, I listen to Sarasota sometimes, but their old mayor, I'm glad that guy's out of there. I couldn't stand listening to him talk. He couldn't understand a word he was saying. So I didn't catch that one, but I caught the Venice budget one. And get that. I was talking to my wife about this. All right. And the politicians, it's all the same. Northport, Sarasota, Venice, it doesn't matter. Longboat, doesn't matter. Okay. They do all this. They had a bunch of people in there, taxpayers, residents, and they were complaining, hey, look, you want to hit us with this fire tax, and you're spending money. You just spent $500,000 on a park that nobody goes to. You're trying to spend $400,000 on parking out way south of down by Sharky's. You say it's to alleviate parking downtown. You want to buy pineapples. You want to buy a park out in no man's land for $2 million, and you want to do all this stuff. Yet you're trying to hit us with a new tax to pay for fire trucks. 2 fire trucks they need jaws of life, all that good stuff. And so then the response was, oh my God. if you watch the meetings and emails, they said, oh my God, they really came down on us. I didn't realize they were watching us. They were paying attention. The taxpayers were paying attention. And that had a lasting impression on two of them that noted it yesterday. And I say that two of them because yesterday, one of the last things they did was look at do affordable housing. Now, over here, we had Grove Street. All right. For years, it was there. The police station used to be next to it when I was a little kid. They tore down that housing. It was Section 8 housing. Tore it down. They put up new housing for the elderly, and then they're supposed to put up another housing for people of normal age, no specific age restriction on it. And they never got around to it because they ran out of funding. This wasn't really a city thing. This was more of a housing authority type thing. Well, they've been trying to get the money. They haven't been able to get it. So the city said, let's front them. And I think it was $700,000. Don't hold me to that. And they said, and Hollick's logic behind it was, well, you know what, guys, we're just saying we're going to put it there so that their application will get moved forward and it'll have a bit more higher favorability, but we won't necessarily have to use it. Yeah, you will. If you put it up there and they approve the application based upon you saying you're giving them $700,000, guess what? They're going to build the loan around the application process, all that around the city giving them $700,000. Some of the people like Rich Cotero, Councilman Fraze, they came up and said, look, we don't have the money. We need 2 fire trucks. How the hell are we going to fund this? We need it. Yeah, we need affordable housing, but we need fire trucks too. And but anyways, it passed and they spent more money that we don't have. And that's the problem. These guys keep spending money that we don't have. And I put the address on his email and said, you guys got to talk to these politicians. They just don't get it. And they think, well, the next guy will fix it. And it just amazes me every time how careless they are. And people don't realize it and they don't get involved, and then until it's too late, and then they get upset. And I like I said the other day, a good example. Actually, I'll roll into this. There's a family of 4. I put the information up. The mother, she doesn't have custody, I believe, has these 4 kids. She took off, they're missing. The Amber Alert finally came out. She's up in Bradenton. It finally came out, I think, at the end of yesterday, but they've been missing a day prior. And I had it on the page. So I put the Amber Alert up. And I'm going to see in a second, but I think the last time I checked it a couple hours ago, there was only 2 shares on it. Now, this is in Bradenton. She could possibly be down here. Only 2 shares for an Amber Alert where 4 kids could be in trouble. Yet, you'll push something up like a dog and you'll get 300 shares. Or you'll put up something ridiculous and you'll get 50 comments, but nobody will share anything about the Amber Alert. And that always amazes me. This is one I thought we'd have a lot of conversation on, and there isn't, about possible funding cuts for Planned Parenthood and how they'll impact the Suncoast and how they're losing their CEO, who's been a champion for decades for Planned Parenthood. And there's some concerns around there. I'm surprised there wasn't a lot of commentary on that and debate with how you guys normally are. Electrician, for some reason, I'm one of the few people that picked this up, but an electrician, Penn with West Penn, I think it's called, down here to help us out. Get our electric back on. Was electrocuted in Venice. I don't think he passed away. I think he was severely injured. There's no real information on that. But, here's a guy. His wife said he's been working day in, day out, tirelessly. She said he's been really stressed, obviously, trying to get everything set up and going. And when you're under that kind of pressure, you can make a mistake. And in that line of business, you don't want to make a mistake. And unfortunately, he was electrocuted in Inglewood. Here it is. Okay, Amber Alert. You can go to my website, just type in Amber Alert. Or top right-hand side, Google. 4 kids, all right? And so far, we've had 2 likes, 8 shares. Now, you've had 1,700 people that have gone in and looked at it. 1,782 people have gone and looked at it. But none of them have shared. Now, granted, some of them could have clicked like or shared it while on my website, and that transmits over to their Facebook or Twitter or whatever social media platform they're using. But directly here, only 8 shares. 8 shares on the Amber Alert. That's sad, guys. Come on. I just don't get it sometimes. All right, what else we got here? This made my wife cry. If you guys can look this up. Actually, it's on. This is directly on the Facebook page, and I didn't put it on the website. If you go to where I have pictures, just click on pictures, and there's this statue I personally have never seen, too. And I've been here, since the early 80s. And Adam Hutchinson, who does a lot of photography, lets me post a lot of it, nice, great guy. wrote this little thing up with it, and it made my wife cry. And she said it was beautiful. She loved it. But here's a good example. That's had 75 shares. Over 6,000 people have looked at it. 9 comments, or 75 likes. 9 comments and 14 shares. Now, it's a great statue. The story Adam put behind it is great. However, I think Adam would agree that the Amber Alert was more important. Let me see. The students are wrangling, opening back up, which I don't really think anybody cares about. Young boy hit by car. This, someone sent me the video and everything. This was at the chaos, if you want to call it, at the Clydesdale thing, because I was leaving. I had my pizza in hand, and I was trying to leave, and there was cars everywhere, people everywhere. So the old elderly lady, I don't think was driving that much. There's 49 comments. I don't know what they said on there. He just ended up with some bumps and bruises. He was on his little bike, but I could see if I were an elderly person, which I am AARP eligible, so at 50, I guess I'm considered old. Of course, that's what my daughters tell me. And I could see maybe something like that happening, because it was pretty chaotic there while leaving with my pizza to get back home. And what else we got here? Hotels, shortage of hotels with displaced. Irma, what do you want to call them? It just says hotels for the displaced. I don't know if I like that, displaced. Basically, FEMA doesn't have enough hotels that will take up their offer where they'll pay for it if you house people there, and that's been a major issue. It's not as much anymore here because we got a lot of people that have electric back, but down in Fort Myers and stuff, that's an issue. Hurricane Irma, banks depleted on food banks depleted. I got to tell you, All Face Food Bank done an excellent job, guys. They're the ones that brought, when I put out the cry about the Civic Center on the island not having food or water, they're the ones that brought the 1,200 MREs. They're the ones that have been going out to Northport, Sarasota, Venice, and handing out MREs to people that didn't have food. So if you have food or if you can help, All Face has been really spectacular during the whole crisis post-Irma. All right, and kudos to them on doing such a great job. Next story, and I think we're just about summing it all up. Yet, basically, why you should take down the wood off your windows. I drive by houses and I still see wood up, and me personally, I didn't put any wood up. I was out there in the hurricane. I'm the adventurous type. I went into the wind, blowing through my hair, out there photographing, so I didn't have to take any wood out. I'm also lazy. I don't have time to put wood up, but a lot of people haven't taken it down. I can't live in a house with all boarded up. I have all the windows open, light everywhere. That's just me. But it's also a hazard. This house burnt down. So if you want to read that, listen to that video, it was interesting. Google shutters. Shutters on my website, the uncensoredreport.com, top right hand search button. Now that had 20 shares, but the Amber Alert only had 2. I tell you what, after I'm done with this video, which is right about now, I'm going to go on there and I'm going to share it again and see if we can get more traction on that. All right, everybody, no questions. Going once, going twice. All right, everybody, that's been it. I'll put up a link if you want to share this with non-Facebook people. It'll be up on the same thread a little bit in about 10 minutes once I download this video. Everyone have a great day.